Yes.
So yeah. Now I want to go back. You mentioned something earlier about having an affair in a relationship.
Yes.
And so I would like for you to clarify that. What does that mean? Like to have an affair in your relationship? And like how is that even good for the relationship?
Yeah. Well, as you might have heard, I'm not intending to go outside the relationship and bring a new person in. However, some couples are open to open relationships and things. But essentially what I'm talking about is all the qualities and the things that we would do with another person to have an affair, like a secret getaway, a secret, communication for a number of days, and you feel it's a little risque because it's a secret, to have that with your partner. So a few things of an idea about that is to tell your partner, are you open on this particular weekend, for instance, okay? And yeah, I am. Okay. So plan to know that we're going to go away. And that's all you need to tell them, and tell them maybe what kind of clothes they need to have, and plan on being away for a few days, and you can be specific, what kind of clothes they need to take, but don't necessarily tell them where you're going or, how they're getting there and things. It could be someplace local. It could be something exotic, so it can fit anyone's budget. And a few days before you go away, you can text or quote sext and say, hey baby, I'm so excited to be away with you. And, either way, for the male or the female, in this case, to take the lead there, go out and get some sexy lingerie or other kind of things that really get, things kind of more interesting. You can show up, I've heard of one story of a couple, they met at to begin the journey, they met at a bar, and the woman showed up in an overcoat. Nothing more than the overcoat. So it's a lot of and it's a place where you can explore your fantasies. It's a place where you can share about, that during that quote weekend affair getaway, to really invigorate the relationship. And as I said earlier, share about how you want the relationship to look, because you feel like it's not going down the path you want. And, have the pillow talk, after the lovemaking, and really set that stage and, show to your partner you really care. And again, it can work in any kind of budget for these kind of things. And it really sets the juices on fire, gets things going. So that's the, main essence of it.
Yeah. And I can remember, I haven't done what you're talking about in a long time. Right? Just
you do, baby.
Yes, I am too. And I just as you're talking, and I remember back when we used to do that, when we, much early on in our relationship. And it was a lot of fun, one time I flew her to, Cancun, and she doesn't know where we're going. And it's well, we're going to Mexico City because we have to stop by Mexico City, right? On the way to Cancun. And so she thought, okay, we're going to Mexico City. It was a lot of fun to play things like that, play games like that. And I haven't done that in a long time, so I definitely gotta schedule that in.
That's awesome.
So yeah, awesome. Thank you for that.
Oh, and this is a thing too, a lot of couples that, share with me, but how do you do it? I have kids and all of that. And, it's just whether you have family around to take care of the kids for the weekend, or friends that also have kids, and you share with your friends, that you're going, on this weekend getaway. And would you care for, the kids during the weekend? And I bet you they'll say, yeah, especially when you go, I'll do the same for you guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Funny you mentioned that, because
the neighborhood will fire up.
Yeah. Well, Francis and I are actually doing that exact same thing for another friend, this evening where we're
Oh my
babysitting.
gosh.
Yeah, where we're babysitting for them so they can go on their date. You know, and yeah, so yeah. Awesome. So, like, I'm trying to think here. You know, what would you say would be another way? Because you know, like, go back a little bit to communication.
Sure.
Because like I know for Francis and I, you know, as much as we love each other, we're very different. We're as different as can be. Yeah, our style of communication, you know, our like, I mean, our style for everything, what we eat, what we, you know, what we enjoy or don't enjoy. And so, so we, you know, we come into a lot of communication challenges where she's just not getting what I'm trying to say and I'm not getting what she's trying to say. What are, you know, what do you suggest or recommend around communication? How to have you know, deeper, more meaningful communication? How to have communication where we're both heard? You know, we're both able to express how what we want to say and be heard.
That's another great point, Tim. And I'd say right off the bat, there are two ways from what you're explaining. One is what I call transcribing, and that is where if you're in a communication with your partner and they're really not hearing you for whatever reason, they're distracted, they're on the computer or whatever, and you're talking to them, just stop what you're doing, look at, you know, and you kind of pre-plan that in time you may need to use this kind of piece. So you just say, I would like to just do a little transcribing with you. And that's when you sit in front of each other, look in each other's eyes, and let's say I'm the one who's feeling like, what I'm trying to communicate isn't being heard. So I'd share with my partner, okay, just listen. And then what I would do is give about one or two sentences at a time, and my partner would respond back like, I was talking to you about going away this weekend, and you were saying you weren't paying attention. And then she would say, so what I'm hearing you say, you were talking about going away this weekend and you felt I wasn't paying attention. Is that right? Yes. And then you go on to the next piece. So when I was talking to you about, you know, do you want to go to, let's say, this resort or that resort, you still were talking about, you know, bringing the kids to the soccer practice. And so then she would say, oh, so when you were asking me about which resorts to go to, I wasn't hearing that, and I kept talking about where to bring the kids to soccer practice. Is that correct? And if it was, I said, yeah. And then she may say, is there more? And then I'd share that. So it's a way to kind of break things up so that we can get right on the same page instantly and not emotionally involved. And then once we're like clear again, then we could, you know, just say, okay, great. Let's have a conversation. Cause again, and to bring out the clarities, cause, you weren't hearing. So that's one way, is like transcribing to help get on the same page. The second piece is when the relationship communication gets really heated and you're really pissed off. And here's the argument, you know, and how to have an argument that then you get closer together after the argument. So this is something I call a capsule. And where each of you again say, okay, we need a capsule session because I'm foaming at the mouth. I'm so pissed off. Okay. So you go, okay, essentially you agree to that. Again, each of you kind of prepare to like almost, you know, figuratively put yourselves in a clear capsule where you're protected, you're safe. You have an agreement where you may get really argumentative and angry, but you're not going to hurt yourself and you're not going to hurt your partner. So that's already understood. It's creating a safe environment. And then I may go on to say, you know, start expressing how pissed off I am and how angry I am. And it may be at my partner, or maybe it's something to do with business, you know, in the day, or someone else, or my family. And the thing is, usually why in these kind of heated discussions they don't go so well is because our emotions get triggered. So for the listener, what they're doing is really listening to the speaker, and their name may come up, and things may come up of being said about them, but the listener is really holding a space to go, I'm just allowing my partner to let it rip and speak. And in a way, Tim, that is one of the most honorable, amazing things, to be with someone when they're disgustingly pissed off. And it's a real gift to say they feel so safe with you that they're expressing things this way. They're letting their true essence out. Now, I wouldn't leave it there, but that's a gift in a way that's happening. And then, so for the speaker to let it all out, they have 5-10 minutes to let it all out. And then for, again, the listener, they say, is there more? Are you complete there? And also as a little secret for the listener, if their emotions get charged in there, they could kind of, say a phrase while that's happening to say, this is perfection. This is perfection. Or like a mantra to calm them. As another, it's not about whether they like it or not. It's just, this is perfection, helps neutralize things. Another great little mantra is called, this is a truth. Like, they may be saying, oh, you're and inside you're not going, yeah, but. You go, yeah, that's a truth. It's not the only truth, but that's a truth.
Right.
And so it gives the freedom for the person who's really angry to express themselves, get it off their chest. At the end of the day, it may be right then and there in the session, Tim, or an hour later or things. The person who is really angry does need to come at a point to go, realize it's all about them. They may blame it first, but at some point they gotta go, yeah, this is about me, and that just pissed me off, and blah, blah, blah. And that's how you get through this. And the person who's listening is really caring, really wanting to hear that person and know that they're expressing out some difficulty or in their pain. And then there may be an exchange after that too, where the person who is listening may have a response to the person who is speaking, and then they change roles. Okay? And they don't necessarily, talk back at each other. They just have like those little blocks of time. And then once you both feel like, yeah, the pressure that was so heated is off, then you could kind of break from form and now have a regular conversation. And couples that have done this, that I've assisted, it's been amazing, their responses, because they go, wow, we've just cleared 20 years of stuff we've never been able to deal with before. Right. And they feel so close to one another because it does. You kind of open your heart through that process. And many report that their physical intimacy also really increases, gets deeper.
That's awesome. And yeah, I know that when Francis and I do that, a couple of things. Number one, if I'm the one who's angry, like, I really appreciate her giving me that space. Like, her giving me that opportunity to just express myself, right? And so because I appreciate it, I know that when I'm on the other side, letting her express herself, that is like, you know what? I know she appreciates it greatly, right? And yeah, and I love what you said earlier too about, so you have the capsule, which gives you a time limit. I love that. That helps a lot. And the other one, talking about the transcribing, that you were talking about. And I love how you break it down to like 1-2 sentences at a time. Cause I know when I practice that, I know that it meant more to me for Francis to hear what I said more than agree with what I said.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, you know what? I just want to be heard. Like, really, whatever I said was really irrelevant. So it's like, just knowing that she heard me was more important to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. So now, one of the things we talked about earlier was around money conversation in a couple.
Yeah.
So how, and the challenges that couples have around money. how do we take this level of communication into the money topic to empower us around, being able to talk about money powerfully and work things out around money that would make it work for the relationship?
For sure. And that's a great question too. Again, communication. You may find in the couple, one person may be a spender and one may be a saver. And they may be at totally different spectrums of where their, focus and heads at. But, come again together, in a place where you're going to set up a time to talk about this. It doesn't come as a surprise. So, that, maybe again, like you have some prerequisites kind of information saying, this may get heated. And if it does, we do, the capsule kind of piece. And then you just look at things and go, what are your individual desires, dreams, and goals? And how are you going to create that? What are those things on a financial level that you want to do? And so then you go, well, is it spending, let's say, another $300 each month on a new golf club, really what you want to help you to get the $5,000 vacation, that we want to do? Or is that really affecting our ability to do that? And if so, then look at that and go, not to deny the passions of each other, but there may be some creative ways to go, maybe you don't need a new club every month, or maybe that new club, maybe you can get it as a used club, or something like that, or just hold off a little bit. The main thing is again about, someone wants to go shopping every month or every week. Okay, so what about that? Kind of talk about it and in some sense, have, some parameters around it rather than it's just a free-for-all. And especially, how do you work out your finances? Do each one of you kind of contribute? Do both people work? Does one work and then gives really the money to the other partner? And then maybe that partner is the spender. And does that bring up feelings like I'm working all day and then, and that person is the saver and the other person is the spender. And so again, not that, there may be issues where it needs to be handled, with, that are out of hand. But a lot of times it's just if we can come together and communicate and then figure out together rather than go, we can't afford something, go, how can we create that? And that focuses on the solution rather than the problem.
Right. Awesome.